My name is Priya. I am 30 years old, and my life is far from happy. Every day, I feel a deep sense of fear, and every night, I cry. I want to leave, but I have no place to go. When I was a child, my mother loved me dearly. She was kind, cooked for us, and told us stories. But when I was 10 years old, my mother passed away, and everything changed. My father became angry all the time. I have 2 younger sisters, and we were all terrified of him. He never hugged us, never smiled, and never asked if we were okay. He only shouted and hit us. I wanted to run away, but I was just a little girl with no money and no one to help me. One day, my father became so enraged that he wanted to hurt me badly. I was terrified and ran away to my aunt's house. My father, in his anger, drank something toxic and almost died, but he survived. My family sent me to a camp for children, where I stayed for a few weeks before returning home. After that, my father never hit me again, but I was always afraid of him. When I was 14, I started running away from home. My father never allowed me to go outside, and I had no friends. I longed for freedom and happiness. At 16, I met a man named Tom, who was 20 years old. He smiled at me, was kind, and told me I was beautiful. No one had ever called me beautiful before, and I believed him. I thought he loved me. He said, "Come with me, and you will be happy." I wanted to escape my father's house and be free, so I went with Tom. He lived with his parents, and I moved into their home. For a while, I was happy and thought my life would improve. But one day, Tom became angry, shouted at me, and hit me. I cried, shocked and hurt. He apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, I love you," and I believed him, thinking it was a mistake. But he hit me again the next day. I was afraid but stayed because I had nowhere to go. Tom drank alcohol every day, and when he did, he was no longer kind. He shouted, hit me, and made me feel trapped. I wanted to leave, but I had no home to return to. My father didn't want me back, and Tom's parents didn't help me. At 17, I became pregnant and hoped Tom would change, but instead, he went to jail for robbing someone and was sentenced to 3 years. My father was furious when he found out I was pregnant and told me to leave, saying, "You are not my daughter." Tom's parents didn't want me either, leaving me homeless and penniless. I stayed with a friend for a while until my stepmother convinced my father to take me back. I returned home, but my father was cold and distant, never speaking to me. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl and loved her deeply. I visited Tom in jail, hoping he would want to see our child, but he was angry and shouted, "Why did you bring her here?" I cried, realizing he might not love me. When Tom was released, he found me and insisted we stay together. I felt I had no choice. But Tom didn't change. He continued to hit me, drink daily, and had relationships with other women. I had a second child, a boy, and for a short time I was happy. But Tom's behavior worsened. He spent nights with another woman who gave him alcohol, and he would come home angry and violent. One day, he hit me so hard I couldn't move. He locked me in a room and sent my children outside before returning to hit me again. I cried silently, not wanting my children to hear. I wanted to run away but had no money. Tom told me, "No one will love you. You are ugly and nothing without me." I believed him. Years passed, and though Tom drank less and stopped hitting me, he was still not a good man. He spent all our money, and I felt trapped. I wanted to leave but was scared. My children needed their father, and I didn't know what to do. Now, I want to leave and start a new life. I want to be happy, but I'm afraid. Where will I go? How will I live? I love my children and want them to be happy, but I wonder if staying with Tom is the right choice. I don't have the answers, but I hope one day I'll find the strength to leave and no longer live in fear. If you've connected with my story, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support means the world to me.